Our government is not concerned about stopping the small boats breaking into this United Kingdom or actually detaining and deporting the dinghy divers, the illegal migrants, the so called asylum seekers that are violating our laws on a daily basis. They're not concerned with getting rid of them. It's completely transparent. After the literature that Shabana Mahmood's Home Office has been putting out recently, advising these vagrants, these adventurers, these fighting age men with backward attitudes towards women and children, advising them on how to behave when they are in Britain. My audience agree with me as well, by the way, that the literature that's been put out by the government is a admission that not all cultures are equal, and we are in effect being made less safe because of government policy. 99% of my audience agree on this particular poll. What is the outcome? What are we going to do about it? Well, we're not going to do anything about it until we fundamentally change how the state treats its own people. There is a parity at the moment where these dinghy divers, these illegal migrants, these chancers are being given elevated status above and beyond what's afforded to the native British population under the guise of human rights. The universal concept of human rights, universal rights for everybody, even if it means, you know, impacting us, the native people of Britain. This is the thing. Human rights are great until we're violated in our own country. This is what needs to change. The ECHR, not necessarily in of itself, needs to go. I would like it to go, but that is a distraction. What needs to go is the 1998 Human Rights Act in this United Kingdom, which actually enshrines large parts of the ECHR into domestic law. Until that goes, we are fighting blind. What we can't do is what Reform UK say that we need to do, which is shipping these people back to France. At the moment, we have a French nation state that is actively hostile towards Britain. They were firing shots against our shadow foreign secretary, Chris Philp, the other week. What do you think they're going to do if we start shipping people back to France in the small boats? They're going to open fire, and then it'll be an escalation, and it'll be essentially we're at war with France, and it'll be Reform UK and Nigel Farage being blamed for it, and it'll be an escalation. And then you look at economic sanctions that the EU would likely place on Britain due to this at the request of France. You've got to look at these things in the round. That is not going to work. Now, I, as a Englishman, as a Britishman, hate the French just as much as everybody else, and I do want to give them a big thumbs up, or sorry, a big two fingers, shall I say, not a big thumbs up. That's just baked into who we are as Britons, that we dislike the French. So it sounds nice. The Reform UK policy sounds nice. It's not going to get anywhere. It's not going to. It's not going to do anything. It's designed to grab a few headlines, and that's pretty much it. And that's the issue with Reform UK. Now, the policy is Restore Britain's policy. Now, I'm going to take credit for it. I was mentioning it on my channel way, way, way before Restore Britain was even a movement. All right, I was mentioning this on my channel when Rupert was still in Reform UK, which is the message needs to come across loud and clear. First of all, if you have been refused asylum in a safe third country, whether that's France, America, Australia, Canada, Italy, Japan, what have you, if you've been refused asylum, you're automatically being refused asylum in Britain, so don't even bother applying. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you break into this United Kingdom, you are not setting foot on the mainland. You are not stepping foot on Great Britain or Northern Ireland. What will actually happen is, like Restore Britain say, you'll be shipped off to a remote Scottish island. You'll be given some water, maybe some bread, maybe some raw vegetables, and a tent. That's your lot. That is what awaits you until you're deported from our territory. Now, this doesn't have any of the drawbacks that Reform UK's French option has. We're taking them in, but they're not being given refugee status. they're not even going to be considered for refugee status. And they're on a remote island in the middle of nowhere until they get shipped out to whoever wants to take them, a third country. And whether that country is safe or not, I don't much care, as long as they're not here. My primary concern is the safeguarding and the well-being of the British taxpayer. There is no net benefit to any British taxpayer that these people have access to any of our public service, our population, our lands. The safeguarding of our ancestral homeland to the native British people, who should be put on a pedestal above anybody else trying to get into Britain, or any foreign national from any other country who resides in Britain. Okay, they should be playing second and third fiddle to the native British population, and this shouldn't be controversial. The moment a single asylum seeker or dinghy diver committed an atrocity, that should have been the end of it. Pull up the drawbridge, none are welcome, millions must go. There should have been one test case, all right, and that should have been the end of it. But because the rulers of our country are so concerned with optics and how they are received at dinner parties and on the world stage, they let innocent people, innocent British people, suffer on a daily basis. Case in point, there was a recent one, I think, of another essay, another offender, sexual assault of a native British person. They've been let out of prison, so they were incarcerated in Britain, and they're not going to be deported. So Andy Burnham can wax lyrical and say we're going to deport all of them. Well, clearly not. Our judges aren't doing it. And why? You'll get the lefties on TV saying, oh, we are governed by the rule of law. Change the law. It's as simple as, if a law's not serving the interests of the native British people and the safeguarding concerns and risks, you can change the law. We've got this thing, all right, it's called a parliament. It's there to make laws. Any law that's made in that parliament can be repealed, should be repealed, and will be repealed. This is the thing. Everybody needs to understand this. It's sheer lack of political will. There are many countries in Europe that are in the European Union, are party to the ECHR, but because they've not enshrined large parts of the ECHR into their domestic laws, they use the ECHR as a guideline, all right? Not as verbatim, they don't have to follow it. We have the same autonomy here. We have the same agency here. We should be doing the same thing here. And I may be ranting, but this is completely correct. We need to be put first in our own country. And once again, this shouldn't be controversial. Now, eventually, I envisage an Azkaban type scenario on a Scottish island or uninhabited British island. So in the interim, they get a tent and they get some water until we figure out what to do with them. But eventually, there'll be like an Alcatraz or an Azkaban situation where it's literally a prison island. Think Escape New York or Escape from LA is just like this fortress, and it's going to be monitored, and you're not going to get onto the mainland. This is the final solution. This is what needs to happen. We need to be taking this seriously. We are being put at risk, and enough is enough. These are just my thoughts. Your mileage, as always, may vary. Like and subscribe. You let me know if I'm overstating things. You let me know if you think I've got this completely correct. All opinions are valid. You let me know. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.